Well, first of all, this is so bittersweet. I have loved the show since the beginning, and it took me 3 times to rewatch this without being finally able to accept, okay, this is not the end, never the end, as we said at the end of the screen. Talk about filming that finale and writing, for Geoff, you writing the finale, and Brec, you filming that finale, knowing that maybe this could be the end.
Wow. Well, we knew it could be the end so early on, which is why the season's designed the way it is. It was still emotional to shoot it, emotional to write it. I loved writing it because I knew exactly where it needed to go, where it was going to go. And I was super excited for all those scenes. There's only one scene that was cut, but it's going to be on the Blu-ray, which I'm excited about.
I didn't know that.
The Mike
with all the people?
No, the Mike and Jakeem scene with a little ending of a character from season 2. That'll be fun. Yeah, it was fun and emotional and satisfying and sad and exciting all at once. It was all every good emotion that you could have. I had
definitely emotional. I would say there were so many moments on set, particularly in that last fight scene when we were all at the junkyard together, because that's where I season wrap. So sometimes you don't always you could season wrap in the first scene of the episode if that's how the schedule goes, but I actually season wrapped when we were filming the big epic fight scene. And there were just so many moments I would just stand there and look around and look at who I was surrounded by, what I was surrounded by: exploding cars and super suits and 6'5" Joel McHale fighting me for a cosmic staff. And I just couldn't help but an overwhelming of just gratitude, gratefulness, emotion, all positive, but still deep down just it's you when you love individuals and love something so much, you can't help but just have this tinge of missing it, but still so grateful that it happened.
God, I also have to ask, because that fight scene with you and Joel when I talked to you back at the beginning of the season, never did I ever imagine, these two are going to fight each other by the end. So how much fun did you guys have rehearsing that and finally getting to execute that?
My favorite thing is I'm very small. So every scene I have with Joel, they'd be like, apple box it. But what we got to do, obviously our stunt doubles are amazing, and they really are the other half of the JSA. I give them so much credit. But there was a couple sequences that we actually got to do together. So a lot of times, if I'm doing a fight scene, I'll do it with Joel's stunt double and vice versa, just to keep everyone as safe as possible. But there was one part in particular, it's right when I come in and I try to take the staff from him, and we got to do this cool little twisty thing, and it felt really cool because it felt like I was actually taking the staff from him. And there was always jokes throughout the season, I'm the real Starman. I was always be look at the name of the show, Joel McHale. So it was fun, super fun.
I have to ask, because I know, and I'm sure a lot of fans are still asking this, but was there any chance of were you guys shopping the show around to other platforms like HBO Max or something, in case CW didn't go for it?
Well, we had an idea. We tried to find a new home for it, but it's super complicated, and ultimately we just didn't find another home for the show. It's hard to when it's in season 3 going into a possible season 4. But yeah, we tried everything we could to keep the show going just because we love doing it. I honestly, when I was working on season 3, at that point, creatively, I was so satisfied with the stories and where the characters went. It was more about just being able to hang out with everybody and just do another season so we could have fun making something, because that's what it became about. When I first thought of the show, I thought of 3 seasons. I thought of this trilogy. I always knew Joel was going to be Ultra Humanite. That's why he was planted in season 1 and throughout season 2 and into this season. And having Stargirl overcome Starman essentially and take the legacy on for herself was the story. That was the story. And having all these characters reconcile and become a real family, that was the story. So the story was about closed up. So it really was, for us, I think it was more about being able to work with each other again and hang out with each other, because we had the best cast, crew, writers, post-production team. It was nothing but a joy every day. But look, I'm grateful we got to do 3 seasons, got to tell the story we did and have the experience that we did. Every season was more and more fun, despite COVID too. We still had a good time. It was a kind of a miracle that because we got to shoot seasons 2 and 3 during COVID, we weren't as kind of quote unquote locked up as everybody else. We got to see people and be with people we cared about and have fun working. So we were really lucky to be able to do this throughout that.
Brec, did Geoff tell you from season 1 that Sylvester was Ultra Human? When did you and the cast find out?
Geoff always kept me pretty in the loop, and the cast would always come to me and be like, even in this third season we were filming, they're like, well, who killed the gambler? And I'd be like, ask Geoff. We kept it on, like, the crew didn't know. I know there were some crew members when they got that script, they were just shocked, which is really fun. It's like we got to see a little taste of what the audience might think and feel throughout the cast and crew. But Geoff kept me in on the inside.
Yeah. It was actually great to see that episode last week and have people's reaction, because it wrapped up pretty well and it connected well, and it was great to see that surprise and twist pay off in such a wonderful way, and it pays off in the last and final episode too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because when I saw the title, I'm like, wait, we're gonna lose Sylvester again? Like the last duel? I'm like, what the hell? And then like, no, we had already lost him. I'm like, there was a lot of curse words that came out of my mouth, because I'm like, I was so thrown off by that. But you knew since season 1 that you wanted to do this with Starman. So essentially, like, kind of like, was it key to make sure that Starman was always somewhat like, even though you had all these other villains, you had the ISA, you had the Shade, you had Eclipse. So, but was it always important to make sure that you still had Joel and Starman in there as much as possible to be able to build up to that season 3 reveal?
Yeah, it was a long game. I mean, when I write comic books, I like the long game, so it was the same thing. And talking to Joel about the story and the character to get him on board, because he was only coming in for a few episodes in season 2, and then he was going to join the cast in season 3. It was important for him to know the story and be excited about the story, and also the way we have Sylvester throughout season 3. Like you like him, then you don't like him, and then you're like questioning him, and then you're like, you know, he can be a jerk, and then he's really understanding and sympathetic. And it was going back and forth and moving your emotional heart, how you felt about Sylvester, that kept you a little bit off kilter, so you wouldn't suspect Sylvester. The number of people that were totally surprised by the revelation was great. And that was all, you know, we worked really hard on that.
You know, in the superhero business, you know, things leak online sadly sometimes, but this was like something like you guys really got to keep a secret. So that's awesome. I know that you guys have, I think you both have talked about the word 2 ending shot, and since this will go out on Wednesday after the episode is aired, can you disclose anything about that second ending, or is it something that you want fans to see if it's on the Blu-ray?
Just that, I mean, it's not that different. There's only a couple lines of dialogue that are different that would have sent us into another story. And we'll probably talk about it someday and get into it someday. I don't know if it'll be on the Blu-ray or not. There's a couple deleted scenes that are on the Blu-ray. There's 2 right now from the season that were worth putting on there. You know, scenes always drop, but these 2 were worth on there. I don't know if that one will be on there or not. But I'm sure at some point we will. But it's not like a massively different ending. It's just okay. It's just a slight different ending that sends them off on what would have been a really interesting 4th season by, you know, that again, someday we'll talk about it. For now, we just want people to enjoy the ending we have.
Of course. Well, see, you know, again, because it's so funny that the final thing we see on the screen is never the end, because I have to, you know, the fans would murder me if I didn't ask this. When I talked to Brec last time, crossover is something people are always asking about. And then you 2 went up to Toronto for something, I don't know, like, I don't know if it was just cosplay day, just, you know, to, you know, put on Stargirl costume and have Beast Boy around. But what can you guys talk about that? Because I feel like, you know, we are going to see Miss Stargirl again in 2023.
I will get in so much trouble at this point. I can't say anything, but never the end.
Never the end.
Every time because I've watched the finale twice, both times the never the end comes up, I just immediately start bawling. Mm-hmm. I watched it with my mom last night, and I had to get up and leave. She's like, I don't want to say it, because I just so much emotional. Just like, it feels like, Geoff, I'm so grateful that you made such a wonderful ending that had so much closure and so much clarity. And then just to say never the end, it really just like hits me in the core. I love it.
Yeah,
I'm proud of that ending.
Me too, because the ending it is an ending, but it's also, this stuff goes on forever. Those characters live on. They have adventures that lived on, and it is never the end for our heroes in the JSA, and also all the relationships we made and the fun we had. It doesn't feel like an ending. It's just, you know, it was really a special, the best time I've ever had in my career and life, really. And this is super special to do that.
We just got the JSA on the big screen, and, you know, they could always use a Stargirl? Brec, would you be down to show up in the movies as Stargirl, or would it be, even if it was a different version of her because of the multiverse and all, or would it be important that you get to still play the version that you've been building up for 3 seasons?
Jeff knows I'm obsessed with being Stargirl. I identify as Stargirl. So yeah, no, she's will forever be a part of me. So whatever that means, whatever it can mean, I'm down. As long as Jeff's there, I'm down.
I just think Brec is Stargirl, and anybody would be lucky to have her continue to play Stargirl in any shape or form. But regardless, I'm so proud of the 3 seasons we put together, and it's really rare you get to tell I'm just grateful we got to tell a complete story. And at the end of even our season 4 idea wasn't about regressing character arcs and going backwards, because once Cameron and Courtney are together, I don't want to break that up. Once Rick reconciles with Beth, I don't want to screw that up. Like all that stuff, the relationships that we forged, it wasn't like I wouldn't have gone backwards and broken any of those. So it was a very different type of story we're going to tell next if we did another season.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question, actually, because there's so many satisfactory family moments. Yolanda calling her mother finally, Mike calling Barbara mom, and Rick and Beth coming together, and also Beth finally letting her parents in, and so on. Were all of those moments something that you were crafting for the season 3 finale, or were some of them going to be like, I'm saving some of these for whenever the series finale happens?
There's some moments in there that I again, because we knew this was going to probably be the last season, I just wrote it like it was going to be, because we knew it was a pretty good possibility. And so all those moments were designed for the end of the series, especially that last scene too. Some of those scenes I had in my head since day one, and some of them came into existence during season 3.
Well, for Brec, during the Flash Forward, sadly we don't get to see Star Woman and everything. But how much did you geek out knowing oh my god, they've done all these things in the last 10 years? Or do you kind of have also a headcanon of your own, or oh, here's what I think Courtney did throughout these time jumps?
Absolutely, no, absolutely. Like I said, I feel like Stargirl is such a part of me, like part of Brec, that it was so cool. I'm like, oh look what I got to do. That's awesome. And you fall in love with the characters you play, and you fall in love, like Courtney, best friend is Wildcat. I have fallen in love with Wildcat as well. So to get to hear and see that they were all successful, of these characters that you love, you can't help but just be happy for them. It sounds weird, but it's how I feel.
No, I get it. I'm going to rephrase a question I asked previously without getting Jeff or anyone in trouble. Because Jeff, you produced Titans and Doom Patrol. Could the Stargirl characters somehow live on for those shows, appear in an episode or 2?
You didn't ask it different enough. I'm sorry, I can't answer that.
Okay, fair enough. Let's talk about Jay Garrick for a second, because I love John Wizard Ship, and
yes.
Because this was taking place 10 years in the future, was this something that you had a conversation with Eric Wallace on? I don't know how much content you guys have and so on, but
yeah, I talked to Eric about just the Flash and how we were using him, just so he knew, because you always want to keep everyone up to speed. But because it's in the future, so to speak, no pun intended, because it was in the future, it didn't really affect the other show. That final scene with Jonathan Cake, who played a wonderful Shade, amazing actor, amazing.
Absolutely.
Yeah, again, our whole cast from A to Z was brilliant, just brilliant. Having that last scene be the Shade and the Golden Age Flash, Jay Garrick, was really important, because the Shade hadn't showed up in a while, and Jay Garrick was a nice surprise. I don't think people are know he's coming, which is cool.
Yeah, I don't think they know either.
Yeah.
I know John said something on Twitter watch Wednesday or something, but
Right.
he's always hyping up Stargirl. So I'm sure people will be thrown off and surprised.
Yeah, but that last final scene was really important, because it was important not to have our main characters in it. It was important to have the Shade and Jay. You see how far the Shade has come, right? In that it's all about, look how far the Shade has come. And then he gives you a perspective on the JSA. And for him to give that tour, for him to be there, that shows he's changed a lot. He's grown a lot thanks to Pat and the JSA. And he gives a perspective on where they've gone, what they've done, where they've gone, and what the JSA is all about, that I think is a real perfect send-off into the future. And then Jay comes in for that final fun beat and reveals that, according to Courtney Whitmore, you're a member of the JSA now too. So let's go. And it was, I wanted to send everybody off into the next adventure, because their adventures do go on forever. And I think it's fun to let our imaginations go wild. And the worst thing would have been if they all put their suits away and we're like, that was fun and we're done.
Oh,
My intention was to make sure that you knew they went on forever.
well, for anyone who finds the show in the coming years, whether it's on HBO Max or it's on home release, what do you, both of you hope they take away from Stargirl as a whole?
Just be nice to people, care about people, and enjoy and look for the good in everything. Look for the good first, because there's so much good in the world and in people. Look for the good first. That's what Courtney does. Courtney believes in it, and also hopefully people find it. It's something they can enjoy with their family. Somebody watches it now and they're young, maybe when they have children and they're older, they can watch the show with them, because that's what it's designed for.
Yeah, I just go back to I like the character of Courtney is such a light. And I love watching TV shows. I love content. I'm an actor. I live for it. And so to get to be a part of a show that's just a positive show. I feel like so much of the content nowadays, it's sometimes hard for me to watch. I want to come home and have a relief and escape to a different happy reality of superheroes and Justice Society of America. And I hope our show can continue to bring that to people, because it's definitely brought it for me and my family. Every Wednesday we sit down, my grandparents come over and we watch it. We can continue to do that for someone.
One of my final questions, and this is a fun one for you both, that either of you get to keep a copy of Cosmo? I will take that as a yes. This will be fun to write out in transcript play. Both of them, not quietly, giving it a hintful yes. But anything else you want to share with the fans who will be reading this and watching this as we say goodbye to Stargirl, maybe hopefully for now? Anything you all want to say to them?
Thank you. Thank you for watching and supporting our show. I had the best time of my life getting to make it and getting to connect with so many people. Like over the past year, with a lot of the pandemic regulations going away, I've gotten to meet so many fans of Stargirl. And almost every convention I go to, I cry at some point, because we are so lucky to have such a beautiful, positive, accepting group of people who watch our show. And I'm just so thankful and grateful for them.
I'd echo that too. We didn't have the opportunity to meet the fans in person and the people who watch the show in person until recently. And I want to thank everybody too that's watched and supported our show and Stargirl and who the show's connected with. And it's such a wonderful, positive, passionate fan base. And I hope they enjoy the finale as much as we enjoyed making it. But thanks for watching it, and thanks for championing the show. It means a lot.
Thank you for all the work you both have done, and everyone who's worked on the show for 3 years, especially during these hard circumstances. And for, because Jeff, I know how personal Stargirl is for you. Thank you for sharing Courtney with us in the world. And hopefully this won't, again, I'm still holding up hopes that somehow the show comes back, or, we will see Stargirl somewhere, maybe next year. I know I'm such a teen. I'm sorry for poking so much, but that photo, Brec, you broke the internet that day. I hope you understand. Everyone was shook at, what is she doing with Ryan Parr? Did you have fun meeting him, at least?
Oh, I already knew him. I knew him before.
Oh, you knew? Okay, cool. Well, thank you both so much, and congrats on a 3-year journey that's been such an amazing roller coaster, and we will see what happens in the future.
Annie, thanks so much.
Thank you.